Hi there. Welcome to the Ultimate Success Podcast. I'm Mark Peebles here to help you live your best life and achieve ultimate success. We've got a great guest on the show today. Actually, someone that I've gotten to know at conferences over the past couple of years. Always very interesting to me. Not an agent, actually is an agent, but also serves the real estate industry. And he's helping you to get through your bottlenecks so that you can get more done and really focus on what is most important in life. I love this guy. I love our conversation. He really does have a heart for you. He is the author of the book, Home for Dinner, a real estate novel. Fantastic book. You need to pick this one up. Totally different read than anything real estate related you've read. He is also the founder of the Lesix agency. I think you're going to love the conversation. I want to introduce you to my guest, Robert Lee. Robert Lee, welcome to the Ultimate Success Podcast. I am so glad to finally have you on the show. So thanks for being here.
Absolutely, man. I appreciate it.
So, Robert, you have in the past few years here really entered into the real estate space, but how did we get here? Like, what's your background? And as we sit today, what are you doing to serve the real estate community?
Yeah, so my story is a long country album of heartache and heartbreak with some of those peppy songs from time to time. But in short, 3 years ago, I found myself kind of forced into a life change. And it's because of the fact that I lost my dad. And 6 months before that, my wife and I lost our son. And then I proceeded to destroy a business after that, just forced me into evaluating the things I was doing in my life and where I was going and in my 40s. And so fast forward 3 years, I'm still in the process of learning and growing and improving and rebuilding from that. But I am in the real estate space, providing agents, brokers, real estate schools, even associations, a path to profitability using the things that I have learned over the course of 20 years, consulting a number of different types of organizations.
Yeah, man. In a 6-month period, you lost your son and lost your dad. I mean, and then your business goes south. What was it during that time that kept you going? I mean, that's hard stuff.
Yeah. Honestly, when people say they marry for richer, for poorer, for better, for worse, there's some people that say it because they're supposed to, and then there's people that say it because they genuinely believe it. And I can tell you that I said it because I believed it, but my wife absolutely said it because she believed it. And my wife and my two girls are the reason why I still have any energy to keep moving forward. Because part of it is there's this innate fear, like I'm going to let them down and they're going to abandon me. But there's also this innate desire to live up to the greatness that I think they deserve out of their husband and father. I mean, my wife is literally an answer to prayers I never knew that I was making. And those girls, for as much trouble as they can give us sometimes, are answers to prayers that I knew I was making at one point in my life. And if it wasn't for them, you and I probably would never have had the opportunity to meet, let alone talk on your podcast.
Yeah. That's awesome. How many years married?
In April, it'll be 10.
That's awesome. How old are your girls that are giving you all these troubles that are totally worth it? I can tell you.
Yeah. 7 and 5. And actually,
Wow.
Our 5-year-old turns 6 here in just a couple of weeks. And she is 6 going on 16 at this point.
Yeah.
Our 7-year-old is very much like my wife, right? The nurturing. My wife is a nurse professionally and has just the ability to care for people and take so much flack when other people would just lose their cool, probably people like you and me. Or I assume you, because you're in real estate, there's only so
Right.
much patience you have for
That's right.
bureaucracy. And I know me, I couldn't do it. Our older daughter is very much that way. She is nurturing, caring, understands the emotional and physical needs that people have. And then our 5-year-old, going on 6-year-old, is every bit of me, except cuter and more aggressive than I was when I was 6 years old.
I mean, I'm not going to lie. I hope she's cuter because, I mean, no offense.
No. Look, I tell you, I got a face for radio. That's definitely
That's right. Well, actually, I did radio in high school and college, and I always said that. Like, my teacher told me I had a face for radio. Now, though, I think my face transitions really well to podcasting. So, but. Oh, did we freeze? I got you.
No. I was waiting for you to transition.
Okay, good. You're like, please transition. Yeah. No, okay. So, I want to talk about, there's lots to talk about. I want to talk about what you do for the real estate industry with Lesix, but I think a good place to start and really get some context for what you do is actually in what I'm holding in my hand right here, because you are an author. And you wrote the book Home for Dinner, a real estate novel. Now, this is kind of a novel idea because as I've gone through this, I'm not all the way through it yet, but as I've gone through this, reading the story of Wade, it's really making a point. So first off, I got to know this. Why did you not write this as, a real estate training book, a millionaire real estate agent? Why write it fiction?
There's something about a story that you can see yourself in, and you don't get that from technically oriented books. What's really funny is that the first version of that book I wrote was a more technically oriented book of here's how you do this, here's why it's important. It was me speaking directly to the person that was reading. And I read it and it was just terminally boring. I wrote it, read what I wrote, and I was like, this is garbage. And then, funny enough, this book has changed my personal and professional life. And there's a number of books that come after this. This was written by Dr. Eliyahu Goldratt back in the 80s, called The Goal. And if you've been to business school, you probably have read it. But he wrote that book to introduce the theory of constraints, which is a practice that I follow, to the world. And when you read this story, you see yourself in the situation that his character Alex Rogo is in. It isn't a book that is technical. It introduces very technical ways of thinking in very relatable ways to people's lives. And when I read that book and I said, this is not something that is going to actually help people, I went back to what helped me, listening, reading, hearing a story. And I wanted to tell the same thing. And I can tell you that the heart that I put into that version of the book that you hold now is something so immeasurably more, so immeasurably real and tangible that I think it will have a genuine impact on the real estate industry in ways that very few books have.
Yeah. Well, it's certainly a much more creative approach to teaching me how to not be a burned out, losing my mind, losing my life, my relationships agent, which I think so many agents out there are in that position. If you were going to give the overview I probably gave a little bit of it right there, right? But if you were going to give the overview to our audience, what is it that they're going to take away from this book?
So you are going to see yourself in the first couple of chapters, both as a spouse, friend, colleague, community member, and you're going to see yourself as an individual agent and real estate professional. You're going to experience or re-experience the trauma, the post-traumatic stress that comes through some of these things that you have done inside of your career. And you're going to walk through a process of transformation and see that process of transformation step by step with Wade, the character in the story, learning from somebody named Terry, who turns out to be a mentor and partner. And by the end of it, when the payoff comes, you're going to feel not only emotionally satisfied, you're going to see where your payoff is going to come from in your own life by applying the tools that Wade applies in his.
So, we go through the book, as an agent's reading this, right? Do they walk away with a step-by-step of how to do it?
Yes, but it's not going to be in the traditional way that a technical book would give you. It's not. The one thing that I have noticed in real estate, it's just like the marketing community that I moved in here from. There is a framework for everything. There isn't some specially crafted framework for you to use. It's a way of thinking. It's a way of asking questions. It's a way of focusing on the thing that matters most in your life and your business. The thing that people forget about everything that we do is that reality and the life that we live should be and is incredibly simple when you get down to it. But that doesn't mean it's easy. People have it reversed. They think it should be easy and you should be able to do 900 things at once. It's the exact opposite. You should be able to do the things that you are really good at, and those should be focused. But they're going to take a lot of hard work. It's kind of like bodybuilding. You got to get in the gym, you got to get swole, but it's got to be consistent and repeatable and predictable. And what people will have the ability to do when reading this book is see how you can make things incredibly simple for yourself so you can focus that hard work where it has the most impact.
Yeah. So one of the things that you and I have talked about in the past is when you wrote this book, you're fairly open about the fact you actually used AI to write the book.
Mm-hmm.
Now, as I've read, again, not all the way through it, but as I've read it, doesn't feel like it was written by AI. Talk to me about that process.
It was amazing. The first thing that I did before training my AI agent to write the chapters was I spent hours walking through my neighborhood, talking to myself in my voice recorder. I mean, literal hours over the course of a couple of weeks about what I understand TOC to mean, why it was important to me, the things that I try to apply in my everyday life, the things that I have changed because of it, who I wanted the characters to be, what emotional string I wanted them to pull, what their arc was. I mean, I literally brain dumped everything into voice memos, which is the same process you would do with a ghostwriter. And I just spent an entire couple of months focusing on nothing more than data collection, researching TOC in ways that I hadn't been exposed to before, learning about ways that people may have used it in real estate, which there are some golden nuggets out there, but there's few and far between. Yeah. And so it gave me this research as to why TOC might not be understood in real estate. All of that was collected, incorporated, and then I used it to train my AI agent. And then my AI agent, I literally just said, write this chapter. Here's the continuity that I want it to be. Here's how I want it to focus. Do everything that I gave you in the notes, incorporate everything, ask me questions when you need to. And then it wrote 18 incredibly poor chapters. And I went through every word 3 times, changing chapters, changing the direction of conversations. I let my AI be my ghostwriter and my ghostwriter alone. And I turned into this editor that put my heart and soul into making sure that what was read was my heart and soul. Yeah. And the thing I'm incredibly proud about, regardless if you believe in AI as a valuable tool or not, was I created that book. And I used AI as a tool the same way I would as a word processor, or if I just did speech to text and just wrote my book that way.
So what's your favorite AI platform, by the way?
I use Claude pretty much for everything. Everything that comes out of it is directed by my agent, which runs almost exclusively on Claude code. But I'll use Perplexity and ChatGPT and other platforms for certain
Yep.
things from time to time.
So I think there's some lesson here, right? It's a little bit different because not every agent that we're speaking to in our audience today is writing a book, right?
Mm-hmm.
But there's content generation that we're using AI for. The challenge and what I see is a lot of it feels so inauthentic. Is that the right word? Inauthentic.
Yeah,
It feels
much
like
so.
it's just totally not authentic. But this book, the way that it reads very authentic. Like I'm drawn into this story that you've put together here. So as we apply this to an agent out there, they're creating content that is going to compel buyers and sellers to choose them, to educate the public. Are they walking their neighborhood, talking their opinions? Like, how are we using what you did to write such a compelling book to create compelling content for our potential clients in the future?
The answer of the tactic will be entirely different based on the agent. But what every agent, every broker, every professional that is responsible for filling a class should be asking themselves is, what is the bottleneck that prevents me from producing more in less time? And if you answer that question and focus your work on that question and how you answer that question and why you answer that question, the why is incredibly important. You will start to do so many deeper, more rich things than you would otherwise. And with the book, I didn't focus on anything about that book unless it was related to telling the story and connecting to the bottleneck in my own life.
Yeah.
The bottleneck in my life surrounds the fact that I have to be a happy present father in the life of my wife and children. And people don't pay me to be happy. Or people don't pay me so I can be happy. They pay me so that they can be happy.
Right.
And so I have to figure out a way that I can be creative, which requires me to spend time with people, where I can be present with my wife and girls, and where I can do more work in less time and charge more money for it. There's a lot of things that have to be answered there, unless you focus on the fact that it all falls apart if I am not happy and home. And so now everything that I do, the book, my consulting, even the real estate practice that I'm launching that I never intended to, is how I do that is all answered by that bottleneck in my life and business and professional life and personal life. It all lives in the same universe.
Yeah.
The book will teach you the focused tools that you can use to answer that question. And then you get to go out and try some crazy things, as long as they help you answer that how and why that you develop yourself. I never intend to tell people exactly what to do. It's one of the things that I absolutely hate. Do X, Y, and Z, and you'll be a billionaire. It doesn't work that way. But I can tell you, this is the commonality between every billionaire out there. And you look at it, whether it's Dan Sullivan, Eliyahu Goldratt, you, me, doesn't matter. We all share a commonality, and that is we look for the simple solution that requires focused work, and we go out and we do it well. And that's what the book will teach you. And it's what AI will teach you too.
Yeah. First, I just want to acknowledge something that you just talked about, and the book really addresses too. As agents, I think sometimes this business runs us. We don't run our business. We let the business run us. And quite frankly, the reason we see so much failure and so much burnout across our industry, I believe, is because people have gotten their priorities wrong. And what I love about you, and every time I've ever talked to you, one of the first things that we talk about are your family, and it's obvious in your life that your wife and your daughters are absolutely priorities for you in your life, right? That's living your best life, which we talk about on this show. We want to help you live your best life and achieve ultimate success. And I think agents sometimes think, if I just make more money, I would be living my best life. What do you say to that?
More money. Look, money, you have to have more than enough money to live comfortably. But money is not going to give you the ability to make good choices. You have to have a mind and a heart to be able to make decisions that are prioritized for what brings you a sense of contentment and purpose and focus in life. And I can tell you, a couple of years ago, when that multi-million-dollar direct mail house that I owned was on paper mine, I was a millionaire. But I was also coming home late. I mean, we've talked and laughed about how miserable Atlanta traffic is. I didn't even have to drive into the city, and it was sometimes taking me 90 minutes to 2 hours to drive across Northwest Atlanta. I wasn't even inside the perimeter. If you're listening to this from Atlanta, you know OTP and ITP. I was way OTP, and I still took forever to get home. So when you have two girls that are toddlers that you don't get to have dinner with, and you have a wife that you know would rather you be home, but is doing everything possible to show you she understands how much work you're putting in and how proud of you she is for it, and it still isn't bringing you satisfaction because you know it's not what should be the thing she's proud of. It's not going to give you that sense of purpose and choice. You have to have choice, freedom of choice over what you do in your life. And it's why people that take that freedom understand that they don't need as much as they might have thought. They don't need to do as many things as people tell them they constantly do. And if you even look at the way the real estate industry is wired, that idea of choice is not wired in the way that we talk about compliance or ethics or ethical obligations. If we're a realtor under the code of ethics, it's you must do this, you must do this, you must do this, you must do this. And it's hard when you're a solopreneur for the first time, which every real estate agent is.
Absolutely.
How in the hell do you navigate that? You have to do this. It's terrifying when you have to do this, and this. It's just, it's no wonder why there's so much burnout, because we build that burnout into the qualification process.
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah. So good. I mean, it's so true. And here's the thing, if your priorities aren't straight, to the agents out there, if your priorities are not straight, it doesn't matter how much money you make, how hard you work, you're never going to be content. And that's, I love that about you, Robert. You've got your priorities straight. Now, you're helping agents get them there. You're helping brokerages get them there. And you do that through Lesix.
Correct.
And so talk to me about Lesix. What is your process? What are the things that you offer to agents and brokers out there?
So the thing that we offer is what we call the 90mm. It started off as an AI-powered marketing system. And the more I looked at it, the more I trained my AI employees to serve my clients in this system, the more I said, well, there's more that's needed. Branding is needed. Branding isn't a logo. Branding isn't a way that you build a website. Branding isn't your social media. It's your story. It's your identity. And again, in real estate, our identity as agents is the same as our identity as people. And then I started to look at it and say, well, it's not just branding. It's actually sales. You got to know how to make sales. Sales, marketing, branding, all very different. And then I started to say, well, but you also have to build the operation, build the mechanics, build the understanding. And so the 90mm was what was born out of it. And for about 18 months, it was individual, what I call AI employees that were trained in the same manner that we should be training human employees to do their work. A job description, work instructions, and an aptitude manual. Here's your frequently asked questions that you go find answers to. And so I trained AI employees and then unleashed them to clients inside of the program. And then agentic AI started to not only take root, but become really developed. So I developed a TOC, theory of constraints, oriented AI agent that onboards itself into your business and turns these AI employees into skills that then run a repeatable, predictable, consistent business model that helps agents, brokers, associations, real estate schools all answer what is their constraint, what is the business model that is built off that constraint, and how can we align our tech stack so that we have more time to be with people and actually help make the world a better place.
Yeah. Now, one of the things that we've talked about, and because it's about your process of helping agents, but you told me at one point that sometimes you just need to hear some complaining. You remember that conversation?
Yeah. And that's
how do you use complaining to make things better?
Well, the funny thing is you start saying all of those technical details to people and they just immediately start rocking back and forth. They're like that blow up boxing doll, right? That has the weight in the bottom that you punch and you can just see them start wobbling. But the thing people are fantastic at is complaining, pardon the language, bitching and moaning about everything that is going wrong right now. I mean, how many conferences have we gone to where within 5 minutes, you just find that person that just needs somebody to unload on. And you just kind of listen because you see it's helping them out. Well, the beauty about what we do is that it builds an understanding of reality from the experiences that you have. And the thing humans are great about is complaining about their negative experiences. So when we find somebody that could potentially be helped, we need to know what they need help with. What they need help with is focusing on that bottleneck, but there's no way for us to know what that bottleneck is without them talking about their life. So the first thing that we do with anybody, free of charge, is just let them complain and then show them the same tools that Wade uses or the same tools that they can use in their career and their life and come to a better focus of what it is that they can do to make money. And then it's a natural segue into, look, if you want to run with this, with what you have here, here's some additional resources. You can buy my book for $17.99, and then you can go off on your merry way. Or if you and I want to start a revolution, the next natural step is to have that conversation right now, here at this spot, and see what we can do to change the world. But it all starts with them talking about their experiences, and that comes through complaints.
I think there's a lesson in that for agents as well. I mean, we are interacting with new potential clients all the time. And sometimes if it's an experienced home buyer or an experienced home seller, sometimes us stopping and just listening, which is something you're so good at, just listening to those complaints about previous experiences helps you to understand the problem that you as an agent can solve for that client. So I think there's value in that. First off, if you're an agent and you're spinning your wheels and feel like you're going absolutely nowhere and you're at that point of burnout, maybe you need a complaint session with Robert so that he can help get you on the right path, right? But on the flip side, we've got clients every day that are getting ready to step into a very stressful process. And sometimes just stopping and listening, hearing those complaints, hearing their concerns, hearing their fears makes us more effective as agents. And so I love that. Now, one of the things about you not only are you an author right here holding it, but you're very well read. And I do want to talk about, obviously you talked about Eliyahu Goldratt. The Goal is the book that has really had the biggest influence. And I've got those books that have had big impact on my life and career. What are the other big ones for you? You mentioned Dan Sullivan a little bit ago, and our audience might not be familiar with him, but who are the other authors, the other books that have had a lot of impact on you?
Yes. So Dan Sullivan with Dr. Benjamin Hardy wrote a book called 10X is Easier Than 2X. And it has a lot of similarities between The Goal and the theory of constraints and what it is that they talk about. Dan Sullivan is probably one of the richest, and I don't mean rich by wealth, I mean rich by wealth of experience, small business and entrepreneurial consultant around the world. And he has written a couple dozen books by this point, co-authored with who knows how many people. But the idea of 10x is easier than 2x is the idea that dreaming big, envisioning yourself with a goal that is almost insurmountable and unachievable, simplifies the path of what it is you're supposed to do in your business, which I absolutely love, because TOC's entire premise is there's one bottleneck. There's one limit to the flow inside of your business. And when you focus on that limit, you can expand it in ways that you never thought possible. Well, 10x is easier and 2x gives you some of those more entrepreneurial minded ways of doing it. Another book that I think is absolutely fantastic is the Deming Method. And the Deming Method is about, it's W.E. Deming was a gentleman who, after World War II, went over to Japan to help rebuild the auto industry, or build the auto industry, after we bombed that country back into the Stone Age. Without going into the history of World War II, there was a lot of opportunity for America to really reshape that economy. And W.E. Deming was one of the men that did it. He created or helped develop the idea of the Toyota production system using Lean and Six Sigma, which basically eliminates waste out of a system. And combined with these ways of thinking, it is absolutely fantastic from the perspective of running a business. And while it was developed all in the idea of manufacturing and large scale production, there are cross applicable lessons that can be applied to solopreneurs' lives. And I don't read a ton of books, but I absolutely read a few books multiple times, to the point that I can almost tell you a page of when something happens.
Yeah.
I mean, I say this is a novel, but it's a reference book. I reference what comes out of this all of the time. He wrote another book called It's Not Luck, which introduces the thinking processes of TOC. And I literally re-listen to chapters all of the time when I need to kind of refocus my sales process, or refocus my problem solving process. Another great, fantastic book is a book by John Meese called Serve to Sell. And it's a very small, very simple book to read. John Meese is an incredibly competent and powerful consultant for coaches, which is real estate.
Meese or Niece?
Meese, Meece, I believe it is.
Okay, John Meese. Okay.
Serve to Sell, fantastic book, very small, very actionable, almost immediately, to the point that people that read his things start changing sales calls to serve calls, and start really focusing on listening to people and actually solving a problem, and using that as an opportunity to make a sale, rather than coming in with that hard pitch like we hear at all the chamber meetings where there are 5 or 6 real estate agents there. Right. So those are the books that I use consistently.
That's good. In fact, I'm now building my reading list. I will be going on to Audible, and I think Serve to Sell is the first one I'm going to read. I've actually read 10X is Better Than 2X, which, for anyone listening out there, excellent book. And there is real estate reference in that book. So how can we apply this to our business? But I love it. We've got a reading list, and definitely a big takeaway from today's episode. Now,
and don't forget that also one of my favorite books is a book called Home for Dinner. Some ugly guy that has a great voice for radio wrote it.
I've heard of that book before. Where have I heard of that book? That's by Robert Lee, right? Robert Lee. Yep. No, absolutely. That needs to be on the reading list too, which I've got to ask you, is it coming to Audible?
It is. So I'm actually flying out from the day of this recording tomorrow to the UK to present twice at the TOC Innovation Summit in Manchester. When I get back, I'm going to recuperate for a couple of days, and then I'm going to record the audiobook so that it's ready for distribution.
That's amazing. Can't wait. Because I really do love audiobooks in general, just because then I can put it on while I'm driving, which as agents, we do a lot of driving.
Ton of it.
So I love it for that. But then especially when the author reads it, I think it's just more meaningful sometimes. There's an author named Mike Michalowicz wrote a book called Profit First, which has had a big impact on me and how I run my finances in my business. But I love how Mike Michalowicz reads his books, because as he's reading, he'll actually stop and talk to you. You know, he doesn't just read the book, but you get a little bit extra on his audio. But all of that to say, so Robert, every guest that comes on the show, I have 3 questions that I ask, and I just love hearing how you're going to answer this. It just gives us a little bit of more insight into how you think and how your life has been impacted. So I want to know, who is the greatest influence in your life and career, the person that you would say, really, if it weren't for them, I wouldn't be here today?
So it's so hard to point it at an actual person. I mean, the obvious answer is my father, right? My father raised us from when my parents separated. I was 9 years old. And honestly, I saw him grow up with us. Wow. But for me, he offers something that nobody else can offer. But Dr. Goldratt, never met him in my life, never had a chance before he passed. I would have loved to have sat down with him and had a conversation, because he was so thoughtful. So, I mean, just his ability to think is something that I think is amazing. Deming is another one. I'd love to sit down with Dr. Benjamin Hardy, who co-wrote with Dan Sullivan. 10X. I'd love to hear him talk and his background and where he came from and how he ended up where he ended up. Those, I think, more of a type of person that I would like to sit down with. And it's a type of person that doesn't tell you how it is. It's just a person that knows how to give and take in a conversation. You know, another fantastic person I think would be someone to sit down with is Dave Chappelle.
Yeah.
When you sit,
Dave Chappelle is from a community that's just outside of the area I'm from, Dayton, Ohio. He's from Yellow Springs. In fact, if you watch his last Netflix special, he literally talks about buying up the town of Yellow Springs. And the crazy thing is, I've been in public in Yellow Springs, in Beaver Creek, another community around here, and Dave Chappelle walks into Chipotle or wherever. You see him all over this community. But go ahead with David Chappelle. What about David Chappelle?
You listen to his stand-up, right? And when he was young, his stand-up was goofy and off the wall. But as he's gotten older, he just has this incredible insight into the way that we treat one another and talk to one another. And he presents it as a comic would present it, and he presents it from his experiences. But the thing about our lives is our experiences shape our emotional response to things. And our emotional response to things, events, happenings, people, shapes our decision-making. Right? So if you have had a negative experience with a real estate agent, you're naturally going to be suspect of people like me and you. Here's another one. That type of person that's willing to share that is somebody that I want to have a conversation with, and I want to have them influence me as much as I have the opportunity to influence them. And so I don't ever want to limit it to one person, because I mean, how incredibly, there's just not enough scope to satisfy me in that. But I want to talk to somebody that knows how to talk back and share. And I don't like using the word be vulnerable, but take authority over their life and share that authority with the people around.
Which, by the way, from that last little bit you said there, you said people like you and me. I guess we didn't even mention that you are a licensed agent.
I am.
So you are getting a feel. You're a little bit newer into the actual licensing of it, correct?
Correct. Yeah. So it's actually in October will be 2 years since I got my license. I have not made an attempt to do anything in real estate, although today I'm sending to my printer my geo farming postcard, my first for the year. to my neighborhood. And just
That's
because
awesome.
I've seen so many signs pop up in the neighborhood, I don't get jealous of the agents. I actually, in some cases, know the agents that are doing those listings. But I also think, my gosh, if there's this many people that are looking for a change in their life, who better to sell their property than to somebody who, with his wife, decided to have their home be here?
Yeah, make this home. You know what? Before I go on to my next of my series of questions I ask everyone, do you still believe in direct mail? Because you had a
100%.
direct mail company.
100%. I
Okay.
absolutely love it. It converts at so much of a better rate than digital alone. But the thing I love about direct mail is that variable printing, especially with a platform like High Level, allows you to create variable pieces with variable QR codes and variable landing pages and variable responses to everybody in the area that you want to mail. Direct mail forces you to work your database. Direct mail forces you to build relationships because you have to make that one point of contact, build on the last, and build for the next. Digital is all about volume. And I saw a really interesting statistic today that said the number of published books per year has gone up astronomically from about 100,000 to 300,000, but the number of quality books has not changed.
Yeah.
So, in other words, the top 1,000 authors on an annual basis actually get more of the market. So it's just the world is being flooded with more stuff, which makes sense. We
Yeah.
live in an AI age.
Right.
Productivity is through the roof. So direct mail gives you a reason to go out and actually have personal contact. That said, direct mail, like digital, is only as valuable as your humanity is. So if you're
Yep.
not a real person, figure out how to do that before you figure out whether or not you're going to do digital versus direct mail versus in-person events versus cold calling or whatever it is you do. You got to be a real person first.
So at some point, we're gonna we're gonna have you back on the show. We're gonna talk about direct mail and strategies on it instead of just the quick hit.
Mm-hmm.
But let's move on to the next of my three questions, and that is, what's a life lesson that you've had to learn the hard way that you wish someone had just told you sooner?
Well, we talked about it earlier, and that is being rich is not going to give you a hug.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, it's,
I love how you just said that.
it just ain't going to give you a hug, right? Not
Yeah.
one that means anything. Use your imagination on what you could buy a hug for. But honestly, when I bankrupted myself, and I'm at this point, I've admitted it, right? Like
Yeah.
I've been through the bankruptcy process. I have to run my business very lean and learn how to run it lean and learn how to function with a credit card as my credit line that is in my wife's name, right? So I've had to learn to live with this over the past couple of years in running a business. I wouldn't have that if I didn't have my wife at the beginning of this process put her arms around me and say, "You're going to be okay. We're going to be fine.
Yeah.
The world isn't going to end." And to be perfectly honest with you, Mark, the last couple of weeks, I've just had a really deep sense of anxiety over things. I can't even point to it. And it's my wife that says, "We're going to be okay. You're going to be fine. We're going
Yeah.
to be fine." I didn't have to pay my wife for that hug. I just
Yeah.
had to be present, right?
Yeah.
So be present. Wherever you are, be there and dedicate yourself to it.
I love it. Okay. So we talk about ultimate success. This is the Ultimate Success Podcast. How do you define in your life ultimate success?
People walk away after talking with me knowing that they're not alone.
Mm.
I walk away from situations knowing that I'm not alone. I mean, we're social creatures. God created us to be social creatures. I think God celebrates with us, and he hurts with us, and he struggles with us, and he gives us opportunities to go out there and do amazing things because he every day goes out there with us and does amazing things. And for me, like I want to have enough wealth to be able to live comfortably. I'm not going to lie about that. I don't want to live out of a shoebox. But at the end of the day, I want to be happy and content and appreciative and grateful with the people that matter the most.
Yeah.
And there are ways to do both. Like, you shouldn't have to choose one over the other. Both can be had. And I finally feel like I'm on a path, even though I'm not making anywhere near as much money. And even though I'm not doing as much work as I used to, I have more than enough, but I have so much more time with my wife and girls. I mean, I'm going to pick my girls up off the bus in about an hour, and there's never a risk that I'm not going to be there.
Yeah.
That's successful.
I absolutely love that. And I can tell you from a girl dad, I've got two girls that are almost 17 and 20, and you will never regret the time that you've spent with them. Mm-hmm. You'll never regret spending more time with your wife. It's just, we don't regret those things, but you hear people all the time, they get to the end of their life and their regret is they didn't spend more time with the people they love.
Mm-hmm.
So I love that about you, Robert. Listen, we're going to get to know you more. I'll ask you this now. It's a pressure thing. We're recording this. Mm-hmm. So will you be on the show again in the future?
Look, I will be a weekly guest if you'll have me.
I love that.
Right. I'm not going to lie either. I love being the center of attention from time to time. And from time to time, I mean all the time. So I will come back as much as you will invite me. I always want to have the ability to share what I know and what I do so that people can go out there with what they know and what they do. You ask me, we'll make it happen.
Okay, so where can people find you?
Best place to find me is on my Linktree page, which is rob.lesix.com. That's rob.lesix.com. You'll have the ability to share contact cards. I'll send you mine immediately back. You can see all of our social links. You can find the book. And if you want to buy the book, go to homefordinner.co. You can find it on Amazon and Barnes & Noble, or you can buy it directly from me, and I will sign a nice little note for you.
Look,
on there.
Mine has, I don't know if you can see it on the camera. Mine has that nice little note in it from Robert. Definitely worth it. Robert, I have so enjoyed our conversation today. Can't wait to have you back on. And thank you so much for sharing with our audience.
I appreciate it, brother. Can't wait to be back, and can't wait to see what the next step is in this revolution that we're starting.
All right, brother. Well, you have an awesome day. Thank you.
You too.
Okay.
Awesome.
We'll call that good. What a great conversation with Robert today. I just love that guy. He is someone that he's so full of knowledge. I love, a lot of the things that he said, but here are my three big takeaways from our conversation today. The first big takeaway is in regards to the books that he's read. Now, he gave us a reading list, and the one that I'm going to go read first is John Meese, Serve to Sell. I think that sounds like a book that we really need as agents in the real estate industry. He also gave us The Goal by Eliyahu Goldratt, a book that had just tremendous impact on his life and career. 10X is better than 2X, Dan Sullivan. That is one that you can take so much from that and apply to your real estate business today. And then Will Deming, The Deming Effect. That one actually sounded like a fascinating book as well. Now, what I love that he said, I don't think you need to read every book on the planet. In fact, I think it's good. You're filling yourself with good content. Today, though, we have so much access to content that sometimes you need to do what Robert talked about and find the books that are going to have major impact and go back and read sections over and over again so that you can truly apply what it is saying. So anyway, I love that. Great conversation. It was a quick hit in the podcast, but one of the other things he still believes in direct mail. I actually believe that there's a lot of value in direct mail as well. So I think there is some value in adding direct mail to your marketing. And I hope to have him back on for a much longer conversation about direct mail. The last thing that I wrote down here is being rich is not going to give you a hug. I just thought that was such a great line as a life lesson, right? You can have all the money in the world, but if you do it alone, it's just not worth it. And that's something we talk about a lot here. Hey, listen, I believe we can help you. And I want you to pick up 100 Days to 100K because I think we can help you prioritize to live a better life, to achieve ultimate success through our 100 Days to 100K program. It's more than just about selling real estate. We get into a lot of things in there. One of the things is like, what does your morning routine look like? Do you have a morning routine that is launching you into your day where you're fueling first before you fire? So it's so much more than just real estate, but we will help you take your real estate career to the next level. You can join the Ultimate Success community, which includes 100 Days to 100K at itsmarkpeebles.com. Itsmarkpeebles.com. Hey, great show today. I'm so glad you're with us. Go and have a great week. Bye now.